Welcome to Topper Machine. I'm Josh Topper. So today's video we are going to address all the questions you guys asked on my channel community page post of Ask Me Anything You Want to Know. There was a bunch of good questions on there. And then I've been giving a lot of thought to a lot of the comments. Some of the negative ones, a lot of them are really good, really positive, and I appreciate those. And as I'm working at growing the channel, and we're creeping up on 8,500 subscribers right now as I film this, and we've improved the camera, we've improved the audio, working on the lighting, new equipment, and a lot of things are changing here at the shop. As far as the work I do, I'm getting into some better and better stuff. But again, you got to remember the area I live in is pretty desolate, so there isn't a lot, but I'm pretty much the last job shop left around here. Most of them have, the guys have retired and I've gotten the work. So it's been a good thing. It's been a really good year so far, and the YouTube channel has been a great success. As far as I'm concerned, it's doing well, and I've learned a lot. So let's get into the issues. So I'm going to dive right into some of the comments that I've seen on the channel about the way I dress and things like that. A lot of you have commented on the long sleeves and, oh, it's a safety issue and blah, blah, blah. You know what? It's a calculated risk. Keith Fenner, he wears long sleeves, and he very long ago in a video said something about it's a risk he's willing to take for protection, and I agree. I started wearing long sleeves in a shop I worked in years ago. I used to always wear short sleeves until there, and we were running big stuff. The big lathe that I would run there was a 48-inch American with a riser block, so it would actually swing 60 inches. And then next to that was a 32NN Monarch, so a big lathe, and radial drills, and I mean, there was big stuff all around and big hot chips flying everywhere. Chips were coming off so big and so hot that if they would land on your arm, they could burn in and stick, and you would physically have to try to pop them out of there, and you'd be burning your fingers trying to get them out. And I went home that first week with so many wounds that took so long to heal because of them hot chips that there was 3 of us that all opted for long sleeve shirts at that point, and that really saved us. I mean, I probably wouldn't have arms because of all the hot chips. And I still run that hard here in my shop. So I get chips like that, and it's just you got to be very conscious about what you're doing and what you're wearing. You don't get in close to a spinning chuck or whatever with your shirt sleeve, and you just got to be cautious and careful, and it's a calculated risk that I am willing to take. Now, the other thing with the long sleeves is I live in northern Wisconsin in the most frigid, miserable, horrible area in the country. It is cold here. It is extremely cold here at times, and it's hard to heat a building. Many of you guys have shops at home that in your little garage, and you get annoyed when it costs you $100 a month to heat that garage. My shop is heated with an in-floor heat, an electric boiler, and I have an outdoor wood boiler also. But when my electric bill is creeping up on $1,000 a month, I'm going to dress a little warmer. So I know that's been an issue a lot of people have commented on, and it is what it is. I mean, I'm going to wear the long sleeves if it's cold out or depending on the job. Now that it's getting warmer out, I'm in short sleeves quite a bit. So that's why the long sleeves. Another comment that I've seen numerous times is my hair. It's always a mess, and at this point, it's been 3 months since I've gotten a haircut. I am so busy here in the shop, it's hard to get away. That's a problem. It really is. And when I do get away, it's to deliver parts, and I'm in such a hurry to get back that I just don't want to take the time to get my hair cut. Now, I did have a lady down the road about a mile away that was doing it, but she retired. And now, to get my hair cut, it's kind of a fiasco. And I try to schedule it with a delivery down to Rice Lake. But they're always so busy down there that I can't even get in. So I got to figure out how to get my hair cut, but I'm doing the best I can. I won't wear a hat. I hate hats. Somebody commented I need to wear a hat. Well, not going to happen. I just don't like them. And I've gotten a lot of comments on, you need to watch Cutting Edge Engineering. I watch Curtis. I watch his videos. He does a good job, but he also has something I don't. He has help filming and editing. He has resources that I don't have here. Liquid nitrogen, that one's a very common one that people keep telling me I need to use. Up until recently, I didn't have a good gas supplier for welding gases. All of my gases were coming from Praxair, and I was lucky to get good gas at all. Not to mention the price gouging, just everything. There was so many problems with Praxair that I just couldn't get what I needed. Now I've switched over to Oxygen Services, and so far they're good. I've had really good gas. The quality is better, no problems, the prices are better. Just all around, I'm happy with Oxygen Services, but I haven't looked into liquid nitrogen. But for the 1 or 2 times a year I'm going to use it, it doesn't make sense. Now, I have done dry ice, and there again, I have to drive an hour to go get it. There's nothing local. Like I said, everything around me is a minimum of an hour away to get any kind of services. So I'm really in a bad location as far as having resources. It's been a battle, but a lot of it I've found ways to overcome. But again, Curtis has resources that I don't. So I have to make do with what I have or find creative solutions to those problems. And I've done very well for myself that way. I'm getting repeat work or new customers constantly, so I must be doing something right. Okay, so now on to viewer questions. This one is from Daniel Graff. What is your favorite machine to run? Right here, the Mori vertical slaughter. I never knew I could have so much fun running a machine. I really do enjoy this thing, and I almost didn't get it. It was offered to me years earlier, and I just said, no, I really don't need it. I don't have a place for it. And then I started turning away a whole bunch of keyway work. And it's like, okay, is this thing still available? And yep, it was. And so this has been just a great, great purchase, but also is by far the most fun machine I have to run. I just enjoy everything about it. I don't know, it's rewarding. Besides that, I do love the lathes. They're kind of my thing. I've spent a lot of years on lathes, and so they're up there, but this by far takes the cake. This vertical slaughter is just so much fun. So the next question comes from Terry Cannon. Have you ever done it wrong the first time? I'm sure I sure have, usually when working from my brain and not a sketch. I would love to hear your method for preventing mistakes. Oh boy. Yes, I have done it wrong the first time, the second time, and the third time. Usually I learn from my mistakes. I've screwed up some stuff over the years, but I don't ship it. You make the mistake, okay, screwed up the part, order more material, and make it again, and make sure it's right and send it out right. I got a lot of competitors around the area that I get work from because they ship bad parts. It happens, I get it, but I'm not going to send out garbage if I can help it. There's times where I could miss something on a print, and some of the prints I get are pretty bad. They're hard to read, and it happens. Most of the time, those companies that I work with that send those drawings, they're very understanding and easy to work with, and half the time I catch it, well, 3/4 of the time I catch it, and when I don't, we make sure we have a lot of communication. That's the key. Communication. Communicate with the customer. Any questions on the drawings, make sure you communicate. I had a recent customer that I'm no longer doing stuff for because I couldn't communicate with them. They were just horrible to deal with. So I just quit doing their stuff altogether. It's just not worth it. If you can't have a good relationship with your customer where you can call them up or email them and talk to them, or go visit and, you know, bring the prints and, you know, hey, this is a question. You know, can this be dealt with? If you don't have that kind of relationship, they're not a good customer and you should probably move on. So that's kind of what I've done. But always ask lots of questions, take lots of notes. Definitely don't try to go from, you know, what's in your head. I do that occasionally, but that's my own stuff because I know the parts so well. So that's a good question. And so yes, I screw up. I'm not perfect. So the next question is, what is your all-around go-to carbide insert that you prefer to use? Right here. Sandvik CNMGs. I got turned on to these when I was doing some big stuff. And let me refocus here. That is the info you need right there. These are the by far best insert I have ever used. They're just all around great for roughing. I've had good luck with finishing. Just all around, they've been a good insert. So I'm going to go through a couple of them here quick. The Canadian tradesman, how did you start advertising your work? YouTube. I struggled. I knocked on doors. I did, you name it. And when I started doing this YouTube channel, things kind of started picking up for me. Now, I don't know if that's entirely what did it locally. Locally was a lot of the small shops the owners have retired, closed up, sold me everything. So there was, in the last 10 years, 6 shops have closed up and I've gotten everything. So they were semi-retired, so there wasn't a whole lot, but I'm picking up a lot of stuff from there, and just kind of everything's coming in. I'm getting into a lot of different fields. And also the newspaper. I advertised in a newspaper a few times, and that's how I got the hydraulics work I'm doing now. Those guys saw me in the advertiser, and just I couldn't be happier with the results of that. That was an excellent choice, and them guys have been great to work with. Let's see, next one here. Terry Wright, what is the one job you don't like to see come in but just can't seem to turn it away? The dirty ones. The absolutely filthy, dirty ones. 90% of the time, the guys that bring those in, I know they're hurting, they're broke down, they're in a rush. I can't turn that away. I'm all about trying, you know, we're in a bad area. Again, it's the area we're in, and we got to work together to survive here. So I'm going to do what I can to help out my neighbors and keep their equipment going. I know it's filthy. I know I hate it, and I have to charge for the cleaning, but I'm actually very fair about it, and I hate it. I absolutely hate it, but I just won't turn that away just because I know they're in a bind when they bring it to me like that. Having fun yet? That's a good one too. There's days when I don't want to do anything here in the shop. I just don't feel like working, and there's days where I love what I do. Same with any job. But I also do a lot of outside things that I enjoy, so you know, I wrench on locomotives. That's a side gig. I do track inspection. I've got a lot of railroad experience, so I do a lot of railroad stuff, and we're going to get into some of that throughout the summer. I know I've got some tie insertion work to do, a couple locomotives to wrench on, so things like that. We'll shoot some of that. Again, that's really filthy work, but it pays good, and it's fun. It gets me out of the shop once in a while. So yeah, I'm having fun. For the most part, I'm having fun. I always say I'm semi-retired because I enjoy just about everything I do. And, you know, it pays the bills. So, hey, it's a win-win. Oh, I wish this phone would quit shutting off on me. Okay. How has inflation affected your business, particularly the price of materials and energy costs? Well, electricity-wise, I haven't seen an increase yet in the kilowatt-hour rate. That one hasn't been a problem yet, but I'm running bigger and bigger machines, and last winter I heated a lot more with electric than I have in previous years just because it was so cold and miserable I didn't want to go start the outdoor boiler. So, you know, I'm paying more. I'm creeping up on $1,000 a month electric bill. But it's still, I'm paying the same rate I've always paid. So that one's good so far. Fuel prices, you know, with the sawmill, yeah, that one's kicking my butt. The truck, I mean, you know, the big truck, every time I take that out, I bill for it, but it's expensive to get fuel in it. It's over $5 a gallon. And material has been a difficult one. I have lost a lot of jobs just because of the material cost or the lack of ability to find material. But then again, I've gotten a lot of jobs because other shops around here can't even source the material, and I've gotten very resourceful in ways to source it. So it's been tough. It's been a tough go the last few years. And the next one here, do you do anything related to gunsmithing? If so, do you want to comment the difference between gun and general repair in terms of tooling, techniques, etc.? I used to do a lot of gunsmithing. I got started in a gun shop. I got out of it because of government overreach. And that's actually partially why I'm not doing a lot of railroad stuff anymore, is because the FRA has gotten too powerful. And I've dealt with some really bad inspectors the last few years. But I used to do a lot of gunsmithing, and it's just smaller equipment, and you gotta be a lot more precise on some stuff. Sorry about that. That was another one of them scam calls, you know, the ones where the police and firemen and, you know, wounded babies, you know, I don't know. I get those calls all the time. So anyway, back to gunsmithing. It's just smaller stuff. You know, I did a lot of it with Bridgeports and a small lathe back in the day, and you just have to have good machines, and you got to have good eyesight. That was a big one. My eyes haven't been the best in a lot of years, so getting into the bigger stuff is more my speed now, just because I can see it. So that's about all I can say there, because you know, my experience there was we built a lot of stuff for SWAT teams and things like that, and we made all of our own tooling and stuff. We had a punch presses and did a lot of punch press work, so we made all of our own tooling, and we did some pretty cool stuff. But it was very small stuff or intricate stuff, and you know, building dies and things like that. It was a lot of fun. And what's the one machine you really like to have but can't either find one or justify the expense? Vertical boring mill. A vertical boring mill or a vertical turret lathe, but probably the boring mill. I just don't have the space for it. There's a few of them I know of available, and between the trucking, the floor to support it, you know, power isn't an issue. I've got plenty of power here. I've got 600 amps of three-phase coming in with primary right outside the building, so I got good power. But that's one machine I'd love to have, like a 52-inch chuck, you know, faceplate. I got a lot of work I turn away for stuff that big but short, so it would work on the vertical boring mill or vertical turret lathe. So that's the one machine I would love to have. Okay, next questions. And this is a good one. Does the wife ever stop you from working in the shop when you're trying to finish up a project? Yes. Yes, she does. All the time. She thinks that I need to be done out here by 4:30, 5 o'clock, and she understands. I mean, when I'm really, really busy, she understands, and that's good. But we had a few replies to that question, too. Kentucky Trapper, not if she wants to eat. She's got a very good job herself, so she pays the food bill. I pay everything else, and well, she pays a lot of stuff. We do rather well for her. So she's an RN, and she works very hard. So I try to pick up around the house as much as possible and make dinner and whatnot. So it's not that bad. It's really not that bad. I just don't know how to answer it. I really wanted her to answer it, but she don't want to be on camera. So that was a good question, though. All right. Where's the next one? How many times have you needed to rearrange the shop as new machines are added? Oh boy. Watch my videos. I think I've rearranged 3 or 4 times just since I started shooting videos a year and a half ago. It's insane. I've moved so many things around. I move equipment all the time. You know, yeah, they're big and heavy, but they move, and you just need the tools to do it. But yes, I've moved them a lot of times. Moved stuff in. I've moved some stuff out. Pretty much, I think I'm done though. I got a very good assortment of machines. I just like to get rid of a few things probably. So that's a good question. Yeah, a friend of mine were just talking about that the other day. He's helped me move so much stuff over the years. I had 2 friends help me move the boring mill from where it was into the shop here, from the place I bought it, and the one friend said he's never helping me again. It was that bad. So, but that's a big machine. What are the top 3 machines, items, equipment, etc. that you are planning to add next? Rolling gantry crane. Absolutely. Some lifting capacity. Other than that, just the basics, you know, things, you know, tooling, drills, things like that. But the gantry crane is an absolute must. I'd like a bigger forklift here in the shop, but I'm kind of cramped on space, so that's not really an issue. So that's about it. I mean, I really don't plan on adding anything. I'm pretty well equipped, but we'll see. Things change. All right, Firehouse Custom Fab. I'm working on starting a small part-time job shop in Georgia. I know it's different based on type of work you're doing, but what equipment do you feel a shop should have before it opens for business? A lathe at least this size. An 18 by 48, 60 would be better. Maybe a bigger through hole, you know, 2-inch to 3-inch. Absolutely. Don't waste your time or money with anything smaller. It'll just annoy the crap out of you. Trying to do bigger jobs, and that's a lot of the work you're going to do if you're a manual shop is big stuff. So a minimum this size. And a Bridgeport. A Bridgeport is absolutely necessary. You know, you may never use it if you got something bigger, but the Bridgeport's handy. It's a good drill press. It's a good all-around just general mill for quick things. They're a good machine. And a good bandsaw. Bandsaw is definitely a plus. And don't hesitate to get a really good welder. All right, so the next question is, thanks for all the great videos. I would like to hear about your past experience, jobs, and how you got to where you are now. It sounds like you have a good variety of experience. Keep up the good work. So back in high school, I started out one summer working for a short line tourist railroad. So I was working on the trains with the passengers, working on locomotives, working on cars, working on track. Very small operation at that point, and I've worked with them ever since. I have well, going on close to 25 years working with them. And in fact, I just did a job with them out of town, working on a locomotive, and the video of that one will be coming up soon here. It's kind of rushed because we were in a time crunch, but showing my air test of the locomotive and kind of what I did. So that, I got a lot of experience with rail equipment and locomotives, track equipment, stuff like that from the years. But the summer after that, I started in a punch press shop. And we did primarily firearm parts. And so we made all of our own tooling. You know, we did machining, we did everything there in-house. We worked on, you know, made a lot of parts, stamped out parts for guns, you name it. We also built automatic weapons for SWAT teams and things like that. So we had a good variety of work that way and experience. And I got to play with a lot of really cool stuff. Not talking about the machine tools there. So that was fun. And then 9/11 hit and business kind of tapered off, and it was weird because you would think that would help, but our big customers were calling and apologizing because they didn't have work for us. It was weird. So I went and got a job at a cheese factory for temporary to pay the bills, and I got the opportunity to go work at an OEM that did construction equipment, large stuff, and that's where I ran that 48-inch American, all manual machines in there, big stuff, and we did some, really cool stuff with those machines. Lots of bearing housings, shafts, big stuff. So I got a lot of good experience there. That's where I learned about that CNMG Sandvik insert. We were actually turning 30-inch diameter drums 4 feet long that were a welded seam. So it was a steady cut, but you hit that weld. And that insert was the only one that would take it. It was actually really interesting that way. So learned a lot there, and I was running pretty much every machine when I left there. When I left there, they started sending me work because I started my shop at that point. And I did their work for 4 or 5 years, and they started playing games. And this place was notorious for this. I'm not going to name names, but I knew that the end was coming before I knew it was coming, And so I pulled the plug on them, and I went back to the railroad full-time for a few years while working in the shop in the evenings and weekends, and kept the shop going and regrowing my customer base. And within about a year, I had recouped all of the business I had lost from that one customer plus. But I was still doing it on the side and working at the railroad full-time and keeping going that way. So I've done a lot of really cool stuff that way. And when I finally left the railroad full-time, that was about 3 or 4 years ago now, it was 90% of it was because of the FRA. We had one inspector in particular who, well, they still have him. He's a real piece of work. And track inspector, he doesn't understand the difference between class 1 and class 4 track. Just a real piece of work. So I just needed to distance myself from that. I don't need that kind of headache. He was the whole reason I'm just not interested in railroading that much anymore. I still do a little bit here and there, but it's because it's something I'm good at. I'm good at locomotive troubleshooting and things like that. So I've got a vast variety of experience working in different industries, like, lumber industry. I work with a lot of stuff there. Mining now, you name it. I'm into quite a bit of different things, but I pretty much cover a very large area because there are no other shops here, and it's a very desolate area, like I said earlier. So let's go on to the next question. I appreciate all the great editing of multiple angles, detailed zoom-ins, and explanations. It makes watching you work more interesting. My questions are, do you plan how you're going to make your videos ahead of time, or do you just wing it? Mostly I just wing it because I'm there to, the whole thing is I'm doing the job. So I just stop at multiple points and move the camera and change things around. So I just really wing it. I don't plan that much out. It may show. How much extra time does all the editing, moving camera around, stopping to explain things, etc., add to your jobs? Most of the jobs I've done before, so I bill based on what it was before. But I'm getting better at these repeat jobs because a lot of them are wear components. So a lot of them are, they're billed a little less each time, or they're billed more because of material. So I don't include any of the YouTube stuff at all. That's not in the billing. It's not in that's my own personal thing. That's nothing to do with the business itself. So it does add a ton of time, I had a 30-minute job I did not that long ago. Well, that thread repair, that lifting device, that would have been that would have been about an hour and a half, 2-hour job minimum. It took me 8 hours with all the camera angles and everything, and then they add the editing, and it was a very time-consuming job because of that. But I couldn't bill for all that, so that's one thing. Does it affect your estimates and delivery dates? it's starting to affect my delivery dates, actually. I'm getting so busy that I'm having a hard time shooting these videos. Like right now, I'm doing this video because I'm running out of content because I'm so busy that I can't shoot it. So I could really use some help in here filming, things like that. So I'm going to get to the point where we're going to have a difficulty getting videos out. And how much sleep do you lose staying up at nights doing all the editing? What's the thing you hate most about the editing your videos, and what's the thing you enjoy most? Oh boy. Yeah, I lose a lot of sleep. There's a lot of time spent working on this. I know my wife isn't happy that I'm not spending time with her and doing stuff because I'm editing. I've gotten much better at the editing. It's taking less time. I enjoy it. It's fun. Other than sitting at that computer. I hate computers, absolutely hate them. And staring at that screen, I get headaches, and I just hate computers. As many of you know, there's no CNC in this shop for that reason. I hate computers. So that's the part I hate the most about it. But I enjoy the editing, and it does take a lot of time. It's very time consuming. Some of your most extraordinary jobs, examples, ones that you have good memories of where you're really proud of, and ones where everything went wrong. How did you get into the trade, and what does your wife think of all this? Well, we already covered how I got into this. That was that punch press shop. And memorable jobs. Boy, there's been a lot of them over the years, and a lot of them, I've seen jobs come back, after 5-6 years of abuse in the field, and come back and go, oh yeah, I remember this exactly. I remember this job perfectly, how it went, and I remember what could have went better. So, I can't really say there's any one job that sticks out, or ones that everything went wrong. There's been a few of those. That goes back to the done right the first time. Yes, I screw up. I really can't. It's hard to answer that one. And what does your wife think of all this? Well, the shop, she thinks it's dirty, filthy, and she don't like being out here. When we were dating, she'd come out and help me, And then we got married, and she don't want nothing to do with the shop anymore. So it is what it is. It's a hard business to be in, and it's hard on everybody. And she understands, though. She sees, what I'm doing here for my customers, and seeing the business grow. And yeah, I'm spending a lot of money. She don't like that part, but you got to spend the money to keep in business and keep competitive and keep going. So that's been a tough one over the years. So I think we covered all the questions as best I could. I'm hoping we can do this video again in the future, and you guys get more questions, good questions. Those were some good questions. There were some tough ones too. Now, this just came FedEx, and many of you know that I was featured in Modern Machine Shop magazine. This is a little thing I bought from a company that puts the whole article in a wallboard. So let's get this opened up and check this out. All right, I hope you guys can see this well. That looks really nice, actually. So that is my article in Modern Machine Shop magazine, all framed up in a nice frame, and we're going to put that up in the front entryway of the shop here, and be a good display place for it. So we got her up on the wall here in the entryway, and I can't tell you how happy I am about how this article came out. Matt Danford, the senior editor for Modern Machine Shop magazine, he interviewed me a few times on the phone, and then he came out to see the shop and take pictures and interview me some more, and just a great guy to work with. He did a great job, so much fun. It was totally a painless experience. Just very happy with how it all came out, and so be a good piece for customers coming in to see. And along with the sticker board, which is over here on the counter as you come in. So if you have a channel sticker you want to send, please do, and I'll get it up on the sticker board, and I'll send one in return. Now, if you have any more questions, anything you want to ask, just ask it in the comments below, and I will try to do this video once in a while, maybe once or twice a year, and we'll answer those questions and keep moving on and growing the channel. And with that, till next time, get out in your shop and get it done right the first time. And if you can't get it right the first time, don't ship it. Make a new one and ship that one.